Welcome to another week, another show of Hawkeyed with me, Dave O'Hara. Here we are again, right here, Carver Hawkeye Arena, the Big Ten Conference Room. Lisa Bluder joining us for this show, and after Lisa, we're going to have Jensen and Jenni Fitzgerald joining us to close out the show. So Lisa, as always, thanks for joining us. It's great seeing you.
My pleasure.
Lisa, I was just telling you off the air as we record this on Wednesday afternoon, December 20th. A year ago today, you and I and Caitlin Clark and Monica Sonano and my production partner Michael Merrick and Bailey Turner, your SID, we were all in this room a year ago recording.
Yeah.
So my easy, basic first question to you today is, what's happened in your life the last year? What's changed? What's different?
Yeah, things have changed quite a bit since that time. We've won a Big Ten tournament championship, obviously making it to the championship game and, being a historic event for our program that we've never made it there before. And, certainly we would have enjoyed winning. Who wouldn't? I feel like our team did a great job representing this university in our great state, and just really proud of the way they conducted themselves and handled themselves in that situation. But yeah, since we've been home, it's been a little bit of a whirlwind. Obviously, Caitlin was named Player of the Year nationally, and just was recently named Co-Sportswoman of the Year. That's all sports, all women across the country. That's an amazing accomplishment. So a lot has changed, including sellouts and that sort of thing.
Caitlin just seems to be wired differently than any other player I've ever seen or been around for a number of years. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I do think she's wired differently. I mean, she's such a competitor. She loves the game. She's really good at it, and she knows she's really good at it. She loves to, show off her skill. And, the event at the crossover was really special. I had an inward goal of I was hoping that 50,000 people would show up. And, our administration came to us and they go, "Are you going to be disappointed if only 20 show up?" And I said, "No, I'm not going to be disappointed, but I really believe in the Hawkeye fans." And they came through. 56,000 people came out for that game. Most spectacular photographs, little girls screaming, adults crying. I thought it was such an empowering event for women as we broke the attendance record for women's basketball. But I just really feel like it was a great event to celebrate where our sport has come.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the Caitlin going back to Des Moines last week and playing in Wells Fargo, she performed pretty well there. She was 1-3 going into that, and she in her college career she's 1-0. So had a great night, and again that was almost felt like a NCAA tournament type of atmosphere.
You're right.
It was very electric. We were playing in a different arena, a semi-pro arena, and it felt electric, and I'm really glad that some of the people that don't get to see us play in Carver now because it being sold out got to see us play there.
Well, you're way too humble to say it, so I'm going to say it for you. I'm not going to gloss over all your accomplishments. We did that last year, and Michael and I were joking we could almost do a whole show on your accomplishments. But from everything we mentioned last year, and again, you are Iowa's all-time winner, lead over a C. Vivian Stringer, person you were very close to, as you mentioned too. Coming up as a coach, you were able to reach out to her and became very friendly over the years, even coaching against her when she left here to go to Rutgers.
Yeah.
But you also, since we've last talked, got 500 career wins here at Iowa as the head coach. That happened out in Florida. 11-1 this year right now, again, as you go into tomorrow night's game against Loyola Chicago. 11-1, 1-0 in the Big Ten. But congratulations. I know milestones are great, and you've had the Coach of the Year honors, and every time you win, it seems like you're passing another milestone. But I didn't want that one to get past us, so congrats on the 500.
Well, I appreciate it. But Jensen and Jenni Fitzgerald have been here for every one of those 500.
That's right.
And they're going to be here later in the
bet.
program.
That's why they're here. That's right.
But that's very special to share that journey with my best friends and people that I admire and I trust, and so it was I was able to have the opportunity to recognize them before one of our games, which they so richly deserved.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And as we're here in the Big Ten Conference Room, you and I talked about, you signed your contract here.
Yeah.
We're going full circle as you roll back with your eyes. 24 years here now at Iowa after being at Drake and St. Ambrose and being a player at Northern Iowa. So you've got Iowa through and through. And you talked about that, where some other universities outside the state of Iowa looked at you back in the day and you thought, oh, heck, I'm an Iowa gal. But what I find interesting about that, and you and Jan and Jenny and I will talk about this, where women's basketball has gone from this day, because I remember you telling me too last year, yeah, Dave, I should have held out for 500 more, or you held out for 500 more, or whatever it was, $500.
Yeah.
And now you see where salaries in women's basketball on the national landscape, not just against men's basketball, but in the national sporting landscape. I cannot wait to talk to Jan and Jenny and you, the three of you, to get your take on this with Caitlin's award yesterday with the Sporting News. I just find it fascinating to see, if you could tell me in your words before we bring Jan and Jenny in here, where the game is today and how just that has to tickle you pink.
Oh, it does, because I was of the generation that got to see it when nobody cared about it. I was of the generation when I played, there was a couple hundred people in the stands, and it was back page, paragraph, box score. I have one videotape of one of my games in college. And so, things have changed a lot, and I'm just so thankful. But, the athletes are better, the coaching is better, the promotion of our sport is better. And since we've gotten TV now, the Big Ten Network and now, ESPN, Fox, and having TV exposure helps show everybody what our game has become.
Yeah.
And when they see it, they're like, oh my, I haven't watched women's basketball in a long time, but it's really good. And it is really good right now. It's played at a very, very high rate. The women are unbelievable athletes and shooters and intelligent basketball players. And so I just think that people didn't know about it.
Yeah.
And now we've been exposed to it, and we're not going backwards. And honestly, I think our team last year just gave people an opportunity to think about something other than what was going on around the country. And we needed something happy, something positive to cheer for. And I think our team became that team.
Absolutely. And you and I talked about that last year, as did Monica and I and Caitlin and I, and what you folks bring to the community. And again, not saying no one else does that, but it is neat to see. And the other thing I find fascinating when you mention it about Caitlin, it's overlooked. She's an incredible passer. And I don't care what men's or women's basketball, I'll put her against anybody from 30, 35 feet out. It's a normal shot for her. It's not like coming from her knees. It's a normal shot. And you were talking about the three-point line earlier. I was going to joke and say, are they going to start making a four-point line for her? Because now, let's be honest, as a coach, and I've asked you this before, I have to ask again just to relive last year. Have you ever come down, has Jan or Jenny, and I'll ask them separately, ever come down with Caitlin, and it was one dribble inside the half court, right? I mean, let's be honest. That wasn't logo. That was dang near a half court three. She took one dribble on Saturday, was there, took it and shot it. I got to believe all three of you collectively and individually said, no, okay, good shot, good shot. True? Have you ever done that with Caitlin?
Oh, I've done that many times with Caitlin. But at this point, I know it's coming, and so now I just, I just smile and shake my head.
What can you do?
I cannot do anything else. But she is like a special player that, and you can just see her joy after she makes that, and she's slapping, high fives to everybody in the front row.
That was great.
And how much fun did they have? They enjoyed it too.
Well, look how you and I are laughing right now just talking about it. As a coach, you got to be loving it. So, well, Lisa, let's do this. Thank you. Great insights as always for this first segment, and let's close out the show, the next two segments, with the three amigos.
Or the Three Stooges, whatever one you want,
I'm not going to say that. You said it, I didn't. But yeah, looking forward to letting those two either indict themselves or clear their record with you. But yeah, looking forward to catching up with head Iowa women's basketball coach Lisa Bluder, and we'll have Jan Jensen, her associate head coach, and Jenni Fitzgerald, her assistant. 30 plus years. Well, how many years exactly?
I got to do the math again. I think it's about 32.
32 years, the three amigos. Wow, or whatever you want to call yourselves. So for Lisa Bluder, I'm Dave O'Hara on Hawkeyed. We'll be back with more in just a few moments.
To have a strong finish, you need an excellent start. It's true on the track and also in the field. That's why Mershman Seeds works tirelessly to deliver cutting-edge technology year after year. Introducing Starting Line, Mershman Seeds' latest advancement in seed treatment, now providing added protection from white mold and sudden death syndrome all season. Ask for Starting Line seed treatment from Mershman Seeds, your friend in the field.
Welcome back to Hawkeyed with me, Dave O'Hara, Lisa Bluder, Jan Jensen, the Post Whisperer, and Jenni Fitzgerald. And I'm going to tell a little factoid that we talked about off the camera because Jenny's too humble to say it. Not only was she Miss Basketball in the state of Iowa from North Scott High School, she was also Miss Volleyball and Miss Softball. So kudos to you, rock star down there on the end. And with apologies. And I know you said, there weren't that many schools, and I don't care if there are 110 or 1,000. Great job. But Jan, I'm going to start with you and then go to Jenny, since Lisa and I did the whole first segment talking, and head women's basketball coach, associate women's basketball coach, and assistant coach. So Jan Jensen, Lisa Bluder walks into Drake. Your senior year, Jenny had just left, had finished her playing career, very successful playing career at Drake.
Sounds like a joke. Lisa Bluder walks in, and a rabbi and a priest, and what's going to happen? I don't know.
We'll finish that off the air. We can't go on the air with that, Jan. See, this is why, folks, we even talked about this. This is why I'm sitting down here. Lisa's going to rein those two in, the three of me. No, don't you dare apologize for. I love it. That's awesome. But thinking like I'm thinking, and that's not always good. But let's talk about that. Lisa Bluder walks into, before it was the Knapp Center. What were your thoughts? What was your experience? Instead of hearing Lisa's version, what's your version?
Well, being a senior, so my fellow seniors, we were just kind of like, oh man, we got to start over our senior year.
Who's this?
It's like, what's this going to be like? And you're all concerned. But when we met her, she was fun. She was young. She had a really good energy to her, so we were excited. But the story I really like to share is there's two. So when we were playing one time, practicing, she was kind of intense and she didn't really enjoy how we'd started practice. And she had these station
Oh, you said that
works.
incredibly diplomatically,
Yes,
by the
I
way.
did.
Kudos to you.
And we were dying, honestly, and she was not happy, and she sent us all down back in the locker room and said to start over.
Wow.
And we had to start over with, we were exhausted. But she got our attention. This was not fun and games.
Mm-hmm.
We were intense. And I remember that was a breakthrough moment because we're like, oh, geez, she really expects us to be better. We can be better, and she's not going to expect anything less.
Mm-hmm.
And then the one thing, when we went to Hawaii during our senior year, we played in a big-time tournament, and we were playing the fourth-ranked team, and we got beat pretty badly. Well, in our past coaching, if you didn't perform really well, regardless of where you were at, it was pretty much video, watching, and just a lot of intensity and not a lot of sightseeing. So we got hammered. Lisa comes in the locker room, and we're all thinking, we're never going to see Hawaii. This is going to be awful. Lisa comes in, and she's like, you didn't block out. We did not handle the press. I do not like our intensity. Da-da-da-da. And then she said, okay, you got 15 minutes to shower. We're going to eat a hard rock. We're going to go to the beach. We're going to watch film tonight. You got it? And she leaves, and we're like, oh my gosh, we love her. Oh my gosh. And that's when I wish Jenny, who's a year older, she could have experienced that, because those moments, even for me in my coaching career, it really helps shape. You can work hard, and you can also still enjoy, regardless of winning or losing. And I think that's, Lisa, Jenny, and I being together all these years, we've always held true to that. Mm-hmm. Especially if one of us wants to remain intense, someone else will be like, remember, it's a game. We can do this. If we relax a little bit today, they're going to perform better tomorrow. And I think that's what we've all held each other accountable. But Lisa really, that's how she started coaching.
So Jenny, now it's you. You meet Lisa Bluder. What was your meeting with Lisa when you weren't playing there at Drake then, and you were gone, or you weren't playing anymore? What was your first experience meeting Lisa, or where, when, how?
Well, I actually went on to grad school at Southern Illinois. I was a grad assistant there, and so we were still playing Drake. Mm-hmm. And so
it was a gateway conference back then, right?
Was.
I think,
yeah, it sure was. And so that was our first experience. We thought that Drake would be down a little bit, and weren't to be as tough as you thought they would be.
Mm-hmm.
And when we went to Drake and played, they pretty much kicked us the first, and we were pretty good at Southern at the time, and kicked us in that first half. And I mean, our head coach there, Coach Scott, was pretty livid, and a little livid at me that I didn't maybe explain things better to her about Drake. But anyway.
It was your Scott. What happened? Yeah.
But I think it was, that first instance was seeing how quickly Lisa turned it around and how much fun the team was having, and I was very happy for them to have, that they had that experience. Specifically Jan's senior year, and the other gals that I had played with as well.
So then that experience, then you stayed and got your master's at Southern, and then how did you happen upon Lisa, and then consequently then later on with Jan?
Yeah, well, she had positions open at the same time, and so when Jan was finished playing grad school, playing overseas, I had just finished grad school. Then we both started working that following, about August started. Well, you started a little bit, I think.
A little bit earlier.
Yeah.
And Lisa had known me a little bit better because we played together, right? So then I came back in, I was going to be a GA, and I got to be a full-time assistant, but we had that relationship. And then Jenni was done. So then it just kind of worked out how we just started together, and we were like bad pennies. Lisa can't get rid of us. Nope, she can't. We keep showing up in that purse.
She keeps having success and keeps fight us.
Well, we both disagree with that, as Lisa and I both. We know better. But yeah, Jenni, you had the experience of playing with Jan too at Drake, so you two had that familiarity. So that really is a nice melding story. And of course, I knew it, but I wanted to hear your retelling. So now, Lisa Bluder, your chance to either get even or set the record straight or whatever that is. What do you remember in your first appearances or first remembrances of meeting Jan and Jenni?
Well, Jan was a decorated high school athlete, and I was the coach at St. Ambrose when she was a senior in high school. And my athletic director, Jim Fox, at the time was saying, aren't you going to try to recruit her? And I'm like, everybody in the country was recruiting her. She's not going to come to an NAI school in Davenport, Iowa. So I had known of Jan and followed her, and so I just thought I was really fortunate that I would be able to go in and coach somebody of that caliber at my first Division I job. And I knew about Jenni Fitzgerald because she was from the Quad City area. Yep. In fact, her dad would come to my games at St. Ambrose, and we would talk. And so I always knew Jenni just because she was such a spectacular athlete in our area. Again, I had no chance of recruiting her at St. Ambrose, but when she had the chance to come back, she was an unbelievable point guard at Drake. And so when I had the opportunity to bring both of these unbelievable coaches back, I was so thankful.
Ladies, I can't thank you enough. I know you've had a busy day with, you've got finals and you've had class, trying to get the ladies through all that, but you had practice. They got their Christmas party tonight.
That's right.
So being here at Carver Hawkeye is great. And I want to thank all three of you. We've got another segment left, but thank you all so much for taking time to do this.
It's our pleasure. It's
fun. Talking some of the great Iowa Hawkeye basketball. Here's the head coach, the associate head coach, and the assistant coach. You got Lisa Bluder, you got Jensen and Jenni Fitzgerald. I'm Dave O'Hara with Hawkeye. We'll be back with more to close out the show in just a few moments.
Who do you trust to produce the best yield? A seed company that's chasing technology or a seed company that's writing a book on it? Merschman Seeds is a leader in technology. We're independent and family owned. Our sister company, MS Technologies, provides access to world-class traits and genetics. And our starting line seed treatment is second to none. Who can you trust with your yields? Merschman Seeds, your friend in the field.
Welcome back to Hawkeye with me, Dave O'Hara, Lisa Bluder, Jensen, Jenni Fitzgerald. You got your head coach of Iowa women's basketball, associate head coach, and assistant coach. Ladies, it has been a blast. I can't thank you enough for your time. So let's close out with a real whiz-banger here, the last one. So let's start with Lisa. I'm going to have you talk about your mindset. You and I talked a little bit in the first segment about where basketball is today. And let's talk about where it's going. You said it's not going anywhere, but you referenced it earlier in the first segment, and I want to come back to it. I said I would. Yesterday's announcement, again, as we record this on Wednesday, December 20th, I find it fascinating that with Caitlin getting the National Athlete or Co-Athlete of the Year with Angel Reese, and as infamous or famous as she is and all that went on in the championship game last year, and Iowa fans are bent out of shape, as homers should be. You should be pulling for your gal. But what it brings to the national forefront, that championship game last year, your team setting attendance records wherever they go, on the road, at home, national championship game, 55,646, or I like your math better, 56,000, at the crossover at Kinnick. That's where I see this heading, with and or without Caitlin Clark, if she goes to the WNBA, the NBA. So as we talk about the future, I have to ask. I'm going to ask all three of you so you both have time to think about your answer. And Lisa, you've been very forthright in your answer to this. Are you going to talk, when you talk to Caitlin, obviously you're going to be pro-Iowa, but what's best for her, or when that decision comes at the end of this year, whether she's going to go to the WNBA or she has the option to come back for another year, what is your conversation like with her?
Well, I mean, why would I not want her to stay? I mean,
Obviously.
that's silly, So of course I want her to stay, but I also have to, back her in whatever she chooses to do and whatever she wants to do. But I certainly want to point out some of the good things that staying at Iowa can give her, including the opportunity to completely rewrite the NCAA record books And
well, it would just be an autobiography of Caitlin Clark, right?
It really could be. And it's not like she's giving up on the dream of the WNBA. She's just delaying it a year. So it's not like you're really choosing between the WNBA and Iowa. It's just choosing about 1 year. Where do you want to spend this 1 year if you have either choice?
And before Jan and Jenny jump in with their answers, I find it fascinating how NIL has changed this completely, because now it's not costing her any money. If anything, I mean, we all know the national ad campaigns she has, and she sat here last year and told me, Dave, when I came here as a freshman, I played in front of cutouts.
Yeah.
I had no idea there was going to be NIL. I had no idea. You know, she's a very good student, as all your players are. You've mentioned that multiple times. So she's got a great future no matter what she decides. So I hear you. Obviously, you want her to come back, but I thank you for taking us inside that conversation. So I'm going to skip Jan and go to you, Jenny, since you handle the guards, so to speak. And I know Caitlin's not a guard per se, so you get extra time to think about it, Jan. But Jenny, what are your thoughts when you have that conversation with Caitlin?
You know, I'll be honest, I haven't had the conversation with her. You know, I know Coach Bluder has, and her family has, and she has friends and people kind of in her camp. So I try to shy away from it. I think everyone asks her that
That's
question.
Fair, yeah.
And so we just talk more about life things or basketball and fun things, and instead of, because she's having those conversations with others, and I just don't want to put more pressure on her. So I personally haven't. My answer would be very similar to Lisa's. You know, we would support her in her decision. You know, you'd hope that she would stay at Iowa, though.
Well, I wasn't going to let you off the hook. I was going to say when or if. Let's hypothetically say she asked you. So thank you for your candor on that. So, Jen, you've had a chance to think, and I know as the ladies have told me, you're a person of few words. Lay it on us. What would you say, or what have you said? What will you say? Lay it out for us, please.
Well, I think you can't have everybody having those conversations, right? I think she knows. You don't really have to tell her. You know, we're a family, so she knows we want her to stay, but we want the best for her. My thing is it's understandable why everybody wants to know. They all have an opinion. Well, this is going to follow her. That money's going to follow her. Well, what's it going to be like when she stays or goes? It's like, enjoy the moment. We have her right now. We have this particular team right now. Mm-hmm. And so everybody, not us, everybody so wants to know. And it's just, whether it's this year that she says goodbye to college or the year after, we've been so fortunate that this is part of the era. Yeah. And we've been in this beginning of the NIL and the craziness of collectives and all that stuff, but we've had arguably, potentially, one of the most greatest ever marketable ever, and we've gotten to learn and grow and be part of that. So I'm not really worried about what's going to happen when she leaves, because Megan left. You know, Michael Jordan left. If you follow the women's game, Diana Taurasi left. She was a great player for Connecticut. So I just think it helps me stay in the moment and enjoy the logo shot she hit today. It enjoyed, and, when you have to breathe when she, does, maybe 6 logos in a row, whatever. It's
what a 21-year-old kid does,
challenge, right? So that's my thing, is trying to do that and trying to get everybody else to enjoy the year too, because there's a lot of excitement left to come.
Well, you've really all three of you have really hit upon it. This isn't an era player or a once in a generation. This is a once in a lifetime talent. And as we talk today, she's number 9 on the scoring list, but by the end of this calendar year, she could be top 5. And Kelsey Plum now is not that far away at number 1. And you mentioned some great players all three of you have throughout college basketball. But that's the thing that excites me as an Iowa fan and should excite all the viewers. Yes, if Caitlin does leave this year or the next year, whenever it happens, it's inevitable. She's going to be done playing here. You've got a great well of talent coming in, and it was well documented on social media with Callie Levine, and you went over to Wisconsin to recruit, and Callie and her mom were there watching 2 players when you went and played in Madison. That's the thing I think that's encouraging, is where it's leaving the game in a far better place than where we're headed next. So, well stated by all three of you. Let's enjoy it while we have it, and it is what it is. So, okay, now the competitive side has got to come out of the three of you, and I did this with the Sanfords in their show the last couple of weeks.
Definitely me.
Well, you and Price Sanford would get along very, very well. I love the assuredness. Okay, so we're going to start with Lisa first, and just go down the line. Since I kind of jumbled the order of questions here, we'll come back to you, Coach. If your playing days, would you play, who would be an easier or more desirable, whatever phrase, and see, Jen is already wincing. Who would you choose as your head coach? Who would you like to play for, Jenny or Jan? And don't say both or co-head coaches. I'm 5 steps
I'm
ahead of
picking
you.
Jenny.
Yeah.
Why? Why?
Well, because Jenny does the majority of our scouting for us, and she's they both sit by me on the bench, but Jenny is really, and not that Jan's not, but Jenny really watches the most basketball of anybody on our staff.
All right.
Absolutely.
Victory. I love the cheer. We're going to go right down the line.
You got to give her a few. It was like, who do you want to play to take the
I
shot?
love
Me.
it. I love it.
That's true.
That's true.
Here's the competitive side I love. Here's the competitive
Strategies, forget that. We're talking about playing.
Here's the competitive side I love. So thank you both, all three of you, so much. Lisa first, and then the three of us, the three ladies joining me. What a team. What a future. We're all very happy with where we're going. Do we have an end point in mind, the three of us, or are you just going to go as long as you can?
As long as we're having
As long
fun.
as they'll keep us.
As long as they'll keep us.
We just keep showing up to work and they keep letting us
They haven't
in.
changed the locks of the passcodes.
We're all good.
I expected nothing else from you three. Thank you so much. So for the aforementioned ladies, I'm Dave O'Hara with Hawkeye. Thanks again to my production partner, Michael Merrick, and to Bailey Turner, the SID here for Iowa Women's Basketball. That's all from us. Thanks to all of you. And as always, thanks for staying tuned at the end of the program for these rolling credits to give our advertisers and sponsors the attention and credit they so richly deserve. And as always, to our aforementioned guests and to you, the viewers. That's all from us at Hawkeye. Thanks to all of you.